Hi guys and girls, I'm Karel Segers of the Story Department, and in this video I'm going to talk about Annihilation. I'm going to share a few thoughts with you. I'm not going to do an in-depth analysis, maybe later, we'll see. But the interesting thing about this film is that it comes from writer-director Alex Garland, who was successful with Ex Machina and before that as a screenwriter for Danny Boyle and other directors. What happened to Annihilation? The studio got nervous. Paramount only gave it a domestic theatrical release. Outside the United States, this film was sold directly to Netflix, so it became a Netflix original and never went out into the theaters, which I think is a shame because the film is exquisitely cinematic. Now, what happened? What's wrong with this film? Well, I think people say that it's too intellectual, that it's not enough mainstream for the $65 million of its budget. I think there's something else going on because there have been other films of a similar nature that have been successful. I sense a little bit of Apocalypse Now in it, even 2001: A Space Odyssey or Interstellar. There are some, surreal events happening towards the end of the film, and I believe there is an audience for that sort of film. But let's have a look at the story and see to what degree the story itself might have contributed to the studio's concerns. So first of all, the concept is quite simple. A woman, a military biologist, travels into this bizarre phenomenon and mysterious shimmer, as they call it in the story, around a lighthouse, and it's ever expanding. There have been some missions going in and no one's returned except for one, and that was the husband of Lena, the hero. The feel of the film for me sometimes has something of The Last of Us, the PlayStation game, which is a game I've enjoyed playing, and I'll give you a clip that illustrates this. So you have this desolate landscape. It's actually quite lush, but you have these abandoned buildings. And even the mood, the music every now and then reminded me of the music of Last of Us, which is all positive. I mean, it was a successful game and it's a good reference. But yeah, there are other things that didn't seem to work. So I always look at what's the film about in terms of the action. So we know that we break down concept into character, event, and action. If you want to understand how that works, check out the other videos. So the story is told from the perspective of a character, that's Lena, played by Natalie Portman. And something happens to her, that's the event. That's when she's taken to this military compound together with her dying husband. That's the event. And then the action is she goes into the shimmer. There's a mission going to the lighthouse. That's the action. So it has these three elements. Now, structurally, there's something interesting with the action because the goal is a resolving of a mystery. There's no real dramatic, emotional goal. Other than in the screenplay, if you were to have a look, let's have a quick look at the script. In the dialogue between Dr. Ventress and Lena, Ventress played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, it suggested that this mission could find a cure for the husband. Now, I have not understood where the connection is, why this expectation of finding a cure in the shimmer. So I found that fairly weak. Now, in the film itself, that scene is played out slightly differently. Let's have a quick look at it.
Why are you going
first,
into
Jennifer
the shimmer?
Jason Leigh gives her reason for going in.
The mission statement is to reach the supposed source of the shimmer, the lighthouse, enter, acquire data, and return.
But I don't think that that's your mission statement.
No.
The mission statement of the mentor, Dr. Ventress, is not the real mission statement. There's something else going on, which is more of an inner journey. However, that does not give us a clear objective. The scene continues, and then we hear from Lena why she goes in.
But you need to know what's inside.
Yes, I do.
So do I.
So that's the complication. You want to come with us?
I can't do anything from here.
Soldier scientist. You can fight. You can learn. You can save him.
Still about saving the husband. We don't see the connection really. So there's no clear connection between the event, being taken to this compound, and how going to this lighthouse is going to save the husband. It's all about mystery. It's about finding information and trying to understand what is going on. Now, that is not a good basis for a dramatic film. Typically, you would, at the halfway point of the film, that would shift, and you would have that open-ended goal would close, and you would have a more dramatic, clearly defined objective. Now, what's a film about on a thematic level? I think different people will interpret it in different ways. I think it may be about grieving, about loss, and about the two people that exist. There's the person you were and the person you become, and this is voiced in a very short scene as the women are pedaling through the swamp. Shepard says she lost her daughter to leukemia, but then, and this is not in the script, in the film itself, she pictures that image of two people. Let's have a quick look.
In a way, it's two bereavements. My beautiful girl and the person I once was.
Hey, we got something here.
So that image of the split person will come back in the movie later on. So it's more than just the leukemia and the daughter. It's really about who she was before the grief and who she is now. Let's go to that midpoint. This is the monologue by Lena that pictures a textbook point of no return, which I'm not a great fan of because I don't think it adds dramatic power to the story. It's really justification for why the characters keep going despite the odds. She says it took us approximately 4 days to reach this point. The coast is only 2 days away. As Shepard pointed out, once we hit the shore, we can follow it until we hit the perimeter wall. So that's just a rational justification for going through. It's not the type of powerful midpoint reversal that I would like to see. Now, what would we have needed here? It's an end of the mystery. Audiences like to participate in a film, and how do you do that? By understanding what characters are facing and what they might be doing to deal with it. And this is why I made the comparison to 2001: A Space Odyssey, that there are certain things happening in that film that we also don't get, and it kind of keeps going all the way through to Act 3. And if you watch the film, you'll probably understand what I mean by that without me spoiling it here. So that's the structure. Structure doesn't help the film. Concept could have worked, but we really needed that reversal at the midpoint. I was going to say a few things about the director. Now, I've made reference to Apocalypse Now, which Coppola did in 1979, which was quite a few years after he won, 5 years after he won the Cannes Film Festival with The Conversation, and he had been making quite a few films. He did Godfather before. And the other reference was Kubrick, one of the greatest auteurs who ever lived, who did Space Odyssey after he had a very successful career of films in pretty much every budget level. It seems to me as if Garland peaked too early. He did a film that is in the realm of these other two, but it's only his second film he directed. And maybe he needed a bit more maturity. Maybe he needed more fans to go with him. Even Nolan with Interstellar, he had been working for quite a long time before he did that film. And, still quite a few people had issues with it. But yeah, that's my conclusion. I think Garland is a phenomenal writer-director. I will keep following what he does. But it's a real shame that this brave choice he's made with this film is not paying off and is now going to Netflix. In interviews, he's claimed that he doesn't really care all that much. And I'll put the link to that interview at the bottom in the notes under this video. So check it out. It's a good video. What are your thoughts? Have you seen the film? Did you enjoy it? Let us know what you think it was about, because I haven't even started my thoughts about the shadow character, because it's this visualization of the hero fighting the dark double is really what you see in films such as The Third Man. And even Apocalypse Now is about the hero facing their shadow at the end, in the person of Kurtz. So what do you think of the film? Did you enjoy it? What is your interpretation? And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please subscribe. There'll be more coming. I'm hoping to see you next time here on the channel. Thank you. Bye.